You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Without wasting time, we will open up our conversation on the crucial governorship election taking place today in Ekiti State, which has been referred to as something of a proxy war among current and past chief executives of the state. Joining us now to share his thoughts on this is Segun Sowunmi, himself the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, still in the southwest. Mr. Sowunmi was also a spokesman to PDP's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, in the days leading up to the 2019 presidential election. Good morning, Mr. Sowunmi. Good to have you join us today.
Good morning, guys. It's nice to see you. How's your weekend going?
Very well. How's yours? Good to have you.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Sowunmi, and congrats, by the way, on your emergence as the governorship candidate of the PDP in Ogun State. But today it's essentially about Ekiti. And I'd like to begin by asking you, how do you see the election of today? It is important given the politics of Ekiti. No governor has ever been re-elected, even though we do not have a governor seeking re-election, but we have a party, trying to make sure that a sitting governor gets his successor elected. What are your thoughts, and how do you think that INEC has prepared well for this election? And secondly, which is also very important, is the position of the candidate of your party, Bisi Kolawole, Bisi K. A lot of people thought that, we were expecting that it would be a big fight between the APC and the PDP. But it looks like SDP has all of a sudden, made it a three-horse race with Segun Sowunmi, former governor of Ekiti State, in the race. What are the chances of Bisi K in this election? And do you think that APC will succeed for the first time in installing a successor to a sitting governor?
Well, thank you very much. I think when the candidates have campaigned, the parties have picked their flag bearers, they've gone to the street to go and charge the people and sell themselves. I think on election day, the best approach is to be sober, to hope that everything will play out as it should, that we'll have a less, quarrelsome or difficult or crisis-ridden election process, and then that the will of the people will then be translated into victory for who will win. Of course, we believe that the People's Democratic Party has a very, very good chance, and the candidates hopefully will benefit from the kinds of infrastructure development and the people connecting political style of Governor Ayafawashe, who was the last PDP governor. And we're also hoping that the ruling party there, which is the APC, will not over-monetize the process and allow the will of the people to be freely exercised. We're hoping that all of the parties that are involved, including the SDP, will complete this process and accept the outcome if it is the real reflection of the will of the people, and may Ekiti democracy win today. But I believe very strongly that, all things being equal, we'll wait with nervous held breath to see the result. If we are lucky and the Ekiti people stand with our candidate Bisi Kolawole, then of course he will be the next governor. Whatever be the case, one of the rules and one of the expectations of any country that is in a democracy is that the electorate, citizens who are eligible to vote, are called upon periodically to come and exercise that franchise, which I hope they are going to take very seriously, and it will be a good day for democracy, and may PDP be lucky, and may the electorate be with us, and may our votes count, and may we win. Thank you.
All right, talking about accepting the outcomes, let's talk about the reality of the expectations on ground. INEC says it's ready. In fact, I spent most of yesterday moving very sensitive materials to the wards. But going by empirical knowledge, what exactly should we expect to happen in terms of a free and fair process here?
I think that because of the new technology that INEC is now deploying, which is the BVAS, I hope that it works, and I hope that it removes all the, hitherto irregularities that is associated. I hope that the way they plan to allow the result to move from polling units straight to their collation centers and even to their national headquarters, I hope it works. I hope that all they say about it being in the cloud and people having the opportunity of looking at it, I hope it works. Because remember that after Ekiti and Osun, we're going to be facing the huge national election, which will now be a test of all of this planning on a bigger scale. You have about 172,000 polling units for the country. So whatever they're doing in Ekiti should be able to help us to see what Osun will be like, and by extension, what the next general election in February and March will be like for them. As far as I know, there's never been a time when INEC comes up with his manual for election that you get a look at it and not say, oh, they have planned well. It's always the human element. It's always the people who just don't behave themselves that necessitate all of the, anxiety, the need for security and all that. All we're trying to do is select someone among them in Ekiti who will represent the state and carry out the responsibilities of governor and of deputy governor, since it's a joint ticket. It remains to be seen whether as Nigerians, using Ekiti as a focus point, we have matured to the point where we really get the secretness of what we are being called upon to do. Because whoever wins today, a lot of things will rise and fall on his authority and his shoulder because he's governor. But if you look at PDP, you will notice that we're just a good party. Take a look at what's going on in the country at the national scale, where our candidate is in place. Our vice presidential candidate, His Excellency Governor Kowa, is in place. And when you compare us to all of the others, you marvel at the new use of another adjectival lexicon, which is in holding capacity. No serious-minded political party who is aware of the Electoral Act, who is aware of the timetable, who is aware of what must be done to fill and get a joint ticket can be any other way than the way PDP has been. And of course, you should know that that it percolates all things. Yes, free nerves can make you not get what you want and be a little bit upset about it and probably agitated. But the truth remains that if the system doesn't favor you today, it may align and favor you tomorrow. I wish all of them luck. Of course, Chief Segun Sowunmi, who you mentioned of the SDP, it's unfortunate that people only stay with their parties when it favors them, and they leave their parties when it doesn't favor them. And they fail to realize that at the time the party favored them, some other peoples too were not favored. And if that, their constitutional right gives them the right and the power to try their luck in other platforms, we'll wait and see the outcome. But certainly as a PDP man, you know that I am rooting completely for Bisi, and I'm encouraging all of those that can vote to please consider that life is usually very abundant, very, very exciting, very, very energetic when PDP is in charge. You just need to see how it was when I was there, Ifashe was there, how everybody kind of like had something to say and everybody was carried along. And I'm guaranteeing that Bisi would even be a calmer, a better, and a more purposeful governor than anyone that has been. And they need to know that elections are really mini referendum. They need to take a look at Ekiti in the last couple of years and ask themselves one pointed question: have they really been properly governed? I think even the incumbent is more known for trying to be president than even trying to be governor of Ekiti. Well, it's up to them. It's up to them. May the best man win, and may it be the PDP man today.
All right, Mr. Sowunmi, may the best man win. But then I'd like to, stay with the issue of Ekiti. INEC says 749,065 registered voters, are in the kitty. But then they also detected that about 47,633 double registration occurred, which means that those 47,000 plus will be cancelled. So it comes down to about 700,000 people to decide who becomes the next governor of Ekiti State. You have expressed your wish that Bisi should emerge winner, but a lot of people think that it's actually three governors that are, on the ballot, if you like. The incumbent Governor Kayode Fayemi, we know that it's Biodo Yebanji, but of course people see Dr. Fayemi. Former Governor Ayodele Fayose of the PDP, yes, it is Bisi Kolawole that is running, but then it's all about, you know, the persona and the political capital of Ayodele Fayose, and then former Governor Segun Sowunmi, who is now running, seeking a second term on the platform of the SDP. What do you think will be the chances of Bisi K, and what will stand him out, given the fact that the two other people, a former governor on the one hand, on the platform of the SDP, and then somebody who just left his seat as the secretary to the state government and who had been in government. He was Commissioner Daso Yebanji. He was Commissioner for Budget, you know, and Planning under Fayemi in his first term. And he was Chief of Staff to former Governor of Ekiti State, Adeni. Those are experiences that will count, that matter. Unlike Bisi K, who was just the chairman of the PDP at a point in the state. How do you think that this will pan out, given the fact that there are three governors that people are seeing, and the weakest link seems to me to be Bisi K? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, one of the things that I like to tell people is that politics on its own must throw up new champions. It's not enough for you to say, oh, because one governor is backing another, another governor is backing another, a former governor is trying to return back to say that Bisi K is the weakest. No, it's not. In fact, I would dare say that Bisi K is the people's desire to follow through on a new paradigm. Bisi has not gotten all of the baggages that they have. No one who is in Ekiti will not want to punish Fayemi's anointed candidate for the type of government that Fayemi himself run, where he was mostly absentee, junketing on other issues other than Ekiti. Insecurity is extremely high there, unlike what it used to be. His government style is quite avant-garde, a bit above their head and all that. And then you have a Bisi K who is coming from both the Segun Sowunmi School of Politics and the Ayodele Fayose School of Politics, who's been there, who understands grassroots movement, who's eminently qualified, who has been marketed very well to the people of Ekiti. Like I said, on a day like this, much of persuasion can't be done anymore, because I expect that the people's minds are made up. We'll just have to wait for the verdict of history. But, you know, you would naturally think that if I was a voter in Ekiti, then Bisi Kolawole already has one vote. And therefore, even though not being a voter, but the leader of this party, all I can say is wish him luck and hope that the electorate will look at what they need to look at. Who cared for you more in the last administration? You know that, say whatever you will about Ayo Fayose, you usually know where he stands on an issue. He tried as much as possible to be honest and very connecting. You know that he brings in a lot of energy. Bisi would have learned that. Bisi has learned from the very best. He's worked with all of them, and certainly he's a respected man on the ballot. We've campaigned, we've marketed him. Today is the hour where we hope that he will be lucky. To sound excessively boastful and arrogant or tilt it in one direction is to take the electorate for granted. It's a new process. We would like to see how it all plans out, and I'm hoping, truly, truly hoping, that it will be PDP's day today.
All right, Mr. Sowunmi. Now, the SDP candidate Segun Sowunmi had alleged yesterday that the peace accord that was signed just earlier in the week is already being violated by some politicians and factions. Let's talk about the issue of security around this entire process. Could you speak to what steps are being taken to secure that everything, to ensure that everything is in order?
When you start to hear the weakest link scream blue murder, jump here, jump there, start to complain about all of these things they complained that Oni was seemingly complaining about, according to your words, you just tell you the level of nerves that are involved in the final hour. As far as we are concerned, it is Ekiti people that we wish to lead that are coming to vote. We have done nothing, we have planned nothing to injure them, to maim them, or to make life uncomfortable for them. I believe that the police, they have enough deployment there. The joint special forces there to make sure that people should just go out peacefully, cast their votes, and leave. And don't forget, I made allusion to the fact that there's a new process in place called BVAS, where INEC now has a better opportunity to eliminate human interference in terms of how, you know, the votes haven't been casted at the polling unit will be collated and captured and even held in the cloud. And I'm told that they will even have the ability, people can have the ability to track all of this. And I'm told that even the Beavers has a double layer of, accreditation, which means that your face will be seen and your fingers would also be seen by biometric. And they have removed incident form, which usually gave room for people to, do sharp practices. Look, we'll have to see how it is. Our election process on paper is well designed. It is the attitude of the people, the political class, and their followers that determine whether we're going to have a clean election or not. If anybody comes there with the intention of disrupting it, it is my wish and belief that the security that is in place will nip that in the bud and prevent it. But we must begin to speak positivity to our own Nigerianness, for we can't always be acting as though what we have designed will not stand. I believe it will stand. I believe INEC has put in all of the effort. I believe the country and the security are in place. I believe the candidates have been well marketed. They've gone around to campaign. I believe that now we must wait for the verdict of history. In a couple of hours, the result will start to trickle in. And if we win, I'll be very, very happy.
Indeed. You granted an interview not too long ago where you said, Mr. Sowunmi, that two people give you the jitters as far as who will become the president of Nigeria was concerned. You mentioned Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, we have seen how the APC primary, went. Asiwaju has emerged. So two things. First, Asiwaju was in Ekiti for the grand finale of the campaign, and it's obvious that, he will root for the candidate of the party, which is Biodun Oyebanji. How much of an impact do you think a phenomenon like Asiwaju going to Ekiti and supporting the candidate of the party will have on the election of today? And then secondly, at that grand rally in Ado Ekiti, the governor of Ekiti State said something jocularly about the Eleyi, referring to the governor of Ogun State, the Eleyi of Ogun State, referring to Governor Dapo Abiodun. And then you authored a piece where you condemned what Governor Fayemi did. And I'm wondering, did you miss out on the joke that was meant to be, or you were just looking for an opportunity to hit at the governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who authored the original, thing about the Eleyi of Ogun State? Why would you want to make such a big deal out of that jocular, interjection, if you like?
A governor represents the alter ego of the people within his space. When that comment was first mentioned in a sort of in-house process that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu made it, I interpreted it to mean, in the first instance, it was not meant to have gone into public space, for it was a meeting with himself and his party people towards delegates harvest. Now, when it now became a situation where they get to a bigger platform where the whole world is watching, you introduce the governor of Kaduna State as, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, and you introduce all of the others in that manner. And then it's time to introduce the governor of my state, even though I hope I'm going to be challenging him, or at least we're challenging him. And then you give life and vent to what you know is not exactly appropriate in terms of diplomatic etiquette between states. And then you convert him to the butt of jokes in the middle of people. How exactly do you expect a justly proud Ogoman to take it? I felt that, well, it could have been, but it's time to tell them enough, lest anywhere we arrive, the next thing they will hear is that kind of indecorous way of addressing a governor. And I did put it firmly that Dapo Abiodun is Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, and that whatever it is that was meant to achieve as a small humor, it's time to stop it now. I didn't want him to get to a location, maybe Imo, where somebody wanted to play the same joke, and having not been able to speak the language, corrupted it, and it began to look like something that is even much more devastating. I like process. I like diplomatic etiquette. I like that people should give in the order they've been given. I've never heard Governor Abiodun speak indecorously to them or to anyone, and I felt that as an Oguman, especially one who wants to governor one day, I thought that I should say, no, enough. This joke, let it not go beyond this, and that's that on that. In terms of whether Ashwaju will add value to their ticket, well, the argument has always been, what exactly does a political party achieve by a final rally? Maybe they will gather and, say nice things to themselves and speak to the electorate via television and gather people in the hall. That's not the only way to campaign. We believe that our campaign has been very subtle. It's a bit like we're asking people, you know us, you know what we stand for, you know BCK, you know his ideas, he's one of you. Go and do what you need to do. So every patron of a party adds value to their own party. But for now, we're not interested in whatever value they think they're adding to themselves. We're only interested in an outcome that will help us see the PDP win all the elections from Ekiti right down to Osun, and certainly from Osun to the vice presidency, to the presidency, beg your pardon. Never mind that I'm sleeping on vice president. Why? It's because I'm just pretty excited at the quality of man that is on our vice presidential candidate. I can't wait for him to begin to do the job of a vice president. Very calm, very still now, very experienced, very, very, very articulate, not meddlesome, carries no real baggage. It's just an extra add-on, an extra add-on, an extra add-on. And you will see, PDP has already filed its candidate. Everybody knows who. Friends who you claim having any asset to add to the function are still holding their candidacy of vice president as though they didn't know that it's a joint ticket. Look, I'm more interested in what's going to happen in 2023 as PDP's candidate, Atiku Abubakar, and His Excellency Governor Okowa, for emphasis, Okowa will go and help us get the job done and will win the next election because we are most prepared. We'll deliver on the first day. We'll probably even put our cabinet in place before you say Jack Robinson, and we'll commence the very difficult job of uniting the country, of getting the country to work again, of bringing all the parts of the country together, and of ensuring that we can now begin to fix the mess that the APC has created in Nigeria for 7 years, and counting.
All right, Mr. Segun Sowunmi, please don't go away. We'll go on a short break now. We'll still have a few more questions for you when we return. Please do stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with Mr. Segun Sowunmi, PDP Governorship Candidate in Ogun State. Mr. Sowunmi, thanks for staying with us. Are you there?
Thank you for having me. I'm here.
All right, thank you very much. So I said I was going to ask you, you've enthused about the choice of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as the running mate to Atiku Abubakar. Now, tell me, how does this work for you? The governorship candidate of the PDP in Ogun State, a Yoruba man from the southwest. There's a Yoruba man from the southwest in Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu running on the platform of the APC. And there you have Atiku Abubakar, your former principal, running and not picking an Igbo person. How does this work for you in how you will market these two people? You will be marketing a northerner who is trying to succeed another northerner against an Asiwaju who is a southerner, and then the northerner that you'll be supporting has not chosen a southeasterner, which a lot of people thought would have been the best thing to do. But then he has picked Governor Okowa, who says he's Igbo because of Ifeanyi, which you have emphasized. Do you think that it will be a Herculean task for you to market these two people?
Okay, thank you, Steve. The first thing I need to say is that a political party is, as it were, a tribe. Yes, we have our tribal accidental bad place where we were born. But when you put in about 25 years of your life into a political party, like I have in PDP, PDP is almost like a tribe for me. Just like I expect that whatever they call themselves is like a tribe for the men like Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in that instance, I don't see any conflict in my trying to, support my party's candidate, Atiku Abubakar, who incidentally, I'm not just his former, I'm still his present and even future spokesperson. I'll tell you this, what excites me the most about the PDP is the way we do things. It's not perfect. Let's not make any pretense about that. But just imagine for a second how we have kept to the rules and how we have kept to the timetable as laid out by INEC, how we have never needed to beg them for an extension on any of the dates, pretty settled, and the kinds of men that we chose one from. Let me tell you the three people that were in contention. We were looking at His Excellency Governor Sowunmi of Rivers State, energetic, powerful, commitment, capable party man. We were looking at His Excellency Governor Udom of Akwa Ibom. You have to just love Akwa Ibom, and you have to love Udom. And then we were looking at His Excellency the Governor of Delta State, for emphasis, Ifeanyi Okowa, who has now emerged. And then you ask, what type of party has this array of assets and has to choose one? What are the things that determine who finally gets chosen? The truth is, it's a very complex process. There's a lot of consultation. There's a lot of side dialogue here and there. There's a lot of issues to be considered, and ultimately, a leader must be called upon to take a decision in the midst of all of this. And then when the decision was taken, we'll calm down because people had their preferences, and then we'll zero in on that decision and look at what kind of man has been chosen for us. And that's where the excitement is just beginning. I tell you again, Nigerians, you are going to be extremely happy with the quality of man that the PDP has chosen as a running mate for Atiku. Why? He's a medical doctor, removes all the issues around education and cognitive skills to be able to do the job. He's a former chairman, former secretary, that's grassroots, former senator, that's legislative, former SSD, that's admin, present governor 2 terms, calm disposition, non-disruptive, doesn't rub you of the wrong way, very loyal. Every assignment that has been given to him from the party, he began to generate our following in terms of excitement from our last convention in 2017, 2018, when we did first the general convention, then we did the presidential primary, and we just see the way whatever would appear like hectic chaos just gets to be calmly focused and delivered according to expectation, that becomes a beautiful spectacle by Okowa. And we also know that over the years, he's been one of those candidates that you may have your preference, but you don't really hate him. You may love somebody else, but you're not exactly opposed to him. Now, what do political parties consider? Political parties consider where they are pushing the balance to. We knew we had to go for a Christian because we are not like our rivals who don't care about the balancing of the emotions of the country on the Christian-Muslim balance. We knew we had to do that. It was easy for us. The Waziri of Adamawa from Northeast, another zone that has never produced president in democracy, has emerged in a free and fair contest. And now we have aligned 2 of our strongest hold to get him. His name, I repeat, is Ifeanyi. And please, for emphasis, we are not going to deprive a man of his Igbo ancestry just because he lives in another place. That would be tantamount to saying that if an Igbo man that is born and brought up in Texas was invited to come and be president, we're going to say he's not. No. He's Igbo enough for the PDP. He's South-South enough for the PDP. He's pan-Nigerian enough for the PDP. He's good enough to go on the ticket, and we are happy. And when I listened to him last night, while he was on your Arise interview at the news at 9, because I talk too, so I must, I learned to listen as well. I was blown away. His candor, his temperament, his choice of word, his styles of analysis, the way he places the issues, the way he answers questions. I could immediately just see him in the United Nations, representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the indefatigable best people on earth. And then he steps forward to deliver his speech. Look, maybe I'm a little bit excited when brilliance shows. For instance, while our rivals were having their APC convention to pick their presidential candidate, two men dropped me and threw me off my seat. And I wrote, "Oh, I'm proud to be an Oguma." There were two. I was extremely proud of the kind of speech that the vice president gave, and I was very proud of the speech that Pastor Tony Bakare gave. They didn't win on that day. Yeah, better luck next time. But those are the kinds of things I look out for. I'm aware that beyond the everyday responsibility of that office they both seek, or even anyone seeks, I'm aware that they represent the essence of a people. And they must be people who step forward and we can say, okay, that's my leader. And on this day, we have a balanced ticket, we have a perfect ticket, we have an interesting ticket. We don't have a holding bay. We're going to hold him in holding bay. I mean, come on, Nigerians, you can tell that the PDP is a prepared party. We've unveiled manifesto. We have given you contract to the people. Those things, it's a lot of back-end work to bring it to the fore. They asked us to bring our presidential candidate. You got Atiku in a free and fair election. They asked us to produce who is going to be on the joint ticket, potentially a president in waiting, and a good vice president for harmony, for beauty. We found him. We searched and searched and searched. We did research, we checked, we connected, we had conversation, we listened, we put our hair on the ground, and it ticked all the boxes. And now, everybody get ready for our new star boy. His name is Dr. Ifeanyi Chukwu, for emphasis, Okowa.
All right, Mr. Sowunmi, there is no doubt you're a very enthusiastic stalwart of your party, which, I mean, expectedly would like to see that. But let's go back to Ekiti State very briefly and quickly. You emphasized the notions of quality and value earlier while we were having a chat. Let's look at the strengths of your preferred candidates in that state, Bisi Kolawole. Could you speak in detail now to what exactly the Ekiti State electorate should and could expect from him if he does triumph in this process?
The first thing I can tell you is that you're going to have what the Yoruba people call a decent Omoluabi. To describe Omoluabi is not easy because it's not as if you're saying he's a good man. No, you're saying an appropriate representative of the quality and ethos of a race. You're going to have that in him. The second thing you're going to have is that I guarantee you if he wins, you're going to have an administrator who does not play to the gallery much and who does not try to, just make a mess on governance or convert governance into some charade. No, he's going to be very serious on the job. You're going to have an administrator who understands the need to ensure that power is devolved to the local government and that you're going to have someone who understands that Ekiti has to be governed by someone who is not too far away from them, who doesn't feel maybe too avant-garde or too above them and speaks in falsetto English. No, you're going to have a real Ekiti man who understands what all Ekitis have had to contend with. You're going to have an administrator who will be very honest, who will be very transparent on the money, but who will be very stellar and very firm. You're going to have an administrator who can unite all of Ekiti, including the ones that are even with the APC and the ones that are with Governor Oni and all of that. He's going to be able to unite them. You're going to have a man who comes into a space and there's just that intellectual calmness because he doesn't try to rough people off the wrong way. I tell you, and like I said, this is not a day to come and run a campaign for him. I'm in Abuja, there on the ground in Ekiti. People are turning out. I'm happy. I hope that the turnout is really great. There's no point having up to 700,000 available electorate and only a fraction come out. Nigerians in Ekiti people, Ekiti, go out and accredit yourselves. Go out and participate. Go out and vote for your choice. But if you are going to do me a great favor and give me a good holiday, then you should go and vote for my man of PDP. For me, I'm a very loyal party man. Before the decision is taken, we argue. While the decision is in process, we argue. But once the decision is taken, then we align as responsible party men, knowing fully well, like I told you, a political party is also a tribe. So I am Yoruba by tribe, but I'm also PDP by inclination. And I believe that that's how others see it too. In the years that this party has been in existence, I've never left it. It's because I understand the need for us to build to last. I understand the need for us to run with a vision for a long time. I understand the need for us to make mistakes, correct ourselves, and move on. I understand the need that at every point in time, only one man can have a particular position and all of us can have it at the same time. We'll manage ourselves. Our anger, our slight disappointment will not define us. We will be defined by the fact that what we share as PDP is a lot bigger than what differentiates us. And on these days, you can see everybody's congratulating us. You can see on these days congratulations on the national. Don't worry about the fact that I'm really driving a lot on the national. I'm trying as much as possible not to try to be, I don't want to say we'll win in Ekiti. I want to wait until we have won before I can then come and say, I told you so. So I'm sitting with a lot of anticipation, praying and wishing that we win. But right now, to this day, we're the only party that has a standing presidential candidate and an extremely competent vice presidential candidate. Our friends are holding them maybe in a holding sick bay or in some other locations that I don't know what is stopping them.
All right, Mr. Segun Sowunmi, thank you so much for sharing perspectives with us on the Ekiti election and, of course, on other issues. May the best candidate win. May the best Omoluabi emerge the new governor of Ekiti State. Thank you for joining us.